Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Quet, and it's been a while, but I'm back again with another video. This time it's a Codewars Kata. It seemed to be some of the most liked content on the channel, so I decided, to get the ball rolling, I'd start with this. And I'm learning a few new languages for work. I'm working with Ruby and Clojure, and they get a little bit more familiar. I'm taking some time and doing some katas and, just doing more work with the languages so I can become more comfortable with it. And so this kata is called Century from Year. Essentially what we're going to be doing is creating a method for anybody out there that may have been coming to the channel for my JavaScript material. A method is a function in Ruby. That's what they call a function. So we're going to take our method, it's going to take in a year, and then we need to return what century that year belongs in. And we can just get started by pseudocoding that out. So essentially, we're going to take a year and divide it by 100. And if that number is a whole number, meaning no decimals, anything, if it's just a whole number, we're going to return it. And if it's a float, we're going to return a number plus 1 without the numbers after the decimal. Okay, so let's get started with that pseudo coded out and in mind. So we're gonna create a variable. Unlike JavaScript, we can just pretty much take our variable name to declare the variable and then assign it a value. So as I said, we're gonna take year and divide it by 100. So century is gonna be year divided by 100. And then if century, and then so I did perform this a little bit before recording the video, just to kind of save on time and cut down on time. So if century dot to I, so I had to look this up because I wasn't quite sure how to tell Ruby that, hey, I want to take this number, and if it is a float, I want to make it just a regular integer. Meaning I don't want any decimals. I just want it, if it's 19, I want it to be 19. I don't want it to be 19.05 or something like that. So looked online, did some Googling, found out that that's how I'm going to return that, and was like, okay, great. And so essentially I've worked with a couple different languages, and the thinking is the same. And that's why I'm showing that I pseudo coded this out to think of what I needed to do to come to a solution. The thinking is the same. The syntax is what's different. And so in JavaScript, there's a different way to do this, right? Well, JavaScript I wouldn't do it this way, but the point is that there's a different way of doing things in JavaScript or in Python and definitely in Clojure. And so you just kind of have to think like, this is what I want to do, and then Google, how do I do this thing, and then put pieces together. So I got to here, and then I said, okay, let's say let's equal year divided by year divided by 100.0. So essentially what this is saying is, let's take century, like I said, just make it an integer with no decimals, and let's compare that to year divided by 100.0. And if that matches up, then we're going to return century. And year divided by 100.0 is just making sure that the number is not an integer, and that it's a whole number. And then we're going to click enter, we're going to tab over, and then we're going to write century. And this is how, and then actually let's go on to the next part, and then else. We're going to have an else statement. So for anybody that's not familiar with Ruby, this is kind of the syntax that they work with. you have your if statement, and then you don't have any curly brackets. For anybody that's normally looking at JavaScript, and it's, you have the parentheses that you put the condition of the the if statement inside of, and then you have your curly brackets, and you have your code. Instead, just kind of tab over, and anybody that's familiar with Python is probably also familiar with that syntax. Although there's no colon at the end, so there's definitely differences, and that's what I meant earlier when I said you kind of have to just Google syntax and glue things together. And so the next part of this statement is going to be else, and we're going to put enter, tab on over, and then we're going to say century plus 1. And so when I originally did this, I kind of figured this does it, right? We're adding century plus 1. I think I also did I did that, realized it didn't work, and I was like, okay, what could I do? And I thought century dot something like floor would just kind of round it down. Now, honestly, I think that should work, and I'm going to take some more time to research and see why that didn't work, because it did not work for me. And so I just, kept looking, and I found a method called truncate. And truncate pretty much does what the definition of the word does, and it just cuts stuff off at the end, or gets rid of it. Or maybe not quite get rid of it. Maybe I should look up the literal Webster definition. But it shortens it. Long story short, it shortens it. And so century dot truncate, and then you run the method, and then plus 1. What that's gonna do is it's going to take that number we have, and since we already see in the if statement that it's not a whole number, that it's a number with a decimal, it's a float, we're gonna truncate everything after we're gonna take everything after the whole number and get rid of it. Now you can also pass this in a parameter like a number. So let's say I put a 1 here, and the answer is 19.1234. If I put truncate, put a 1 inside of it, it's going to return 19.1 instead of the 234 that comes with it. So we don't want anything. We're just going to put truncate. We're going to call it, and then we're going to put an end statement right here. So this end statement said pretty much just ends this conditional statement. So if this happens, do this, else do this, and then end, and we hop out of the conditional statement, and then we run any other code that we will have. In this case, we're essentially done. And so yeah, I think we're good. We don't have to put return statements at the end. The last line automatically is just the return statement. It'll say this last line is what we're ending with, and we can go ahead and hit test and see what we come up with. We should be passing, hopefully. Yep, so we passed all of our tests. And just to do a little cleanup, we can go ahead and get rid of that pseudo code there, those comments. Test again, make sure it's still, nothing weird happened. Go ahead and attempt it. I'm good to go. So from here, we could refactor. I could look into things like, hey, why didn't that floor method work, or why didn't certain things work? Actually, honestly, I just put that floor. Maybe if I put floor like this, that fixes it. I didn't quite try that. Hey, and it does. And I honestly like that more. There's nothing wrong with truncate, I don't think. Maybe I can look to see if there's a major difference, but I'm used to the word floor from other languages, so why not just stick with what's more comfortable and more familiar to me. And we can go ahead and attempt it, and we're good. We have another Kata in the books. Go ahead and hit submit. And hopefully that helps anybody that maybe is not familiar with Ruby, or is thinking about experimenting with different languages, or moving from JavaScript to Ruby. Hopefully this lets you see, just think things through, pseudocode it out, and the process is the same, just the way that you write it is a little bit different. Alright, so hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop a like. It'll definitely help me reach more people out there. You can leave a comment. Let me know how you felt about the video. I also have a new mic, so you can, even if you want to comment about the audio quality, let me know how it sounds. I greatly appreciate that. Let me know that my investment was a good investment. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. I definitely appreciate that as well. And I will catch you all in the next video.